On today's episode of WatchJRGo, I am here in Deckard, Tennessee, Franklin, Tennessee, where they build the Nissan powertrains, and I've got the 2026 Nissan Frontier Pro X with all the Nismo goodies on it to show you guys. What is going on, guys? I am WatchJRGo, and like I said, I'm here with the 2026 Frontier Pro X, and if there's one thing that I hear in all of my videos, it's that a lot of people want a vehicle with no technology in it, right? And this is not the vehicle with no technology in it, but it's the vehicle that you might have been asking for exactly. A smaller truck with a solid NA drivetrain in it, right? Naturally aspirated V6 and cloth seats, and they're heated. I mean, that's like exactly what everybody asks for. So let's walk around this thing and see what you guys think. This color is incredible. So this color is called Citrus Strike. It's new for 26, if I remember right. And these don't exactly look like this if you order one from the factory, but if you do all the dealer added accessories, they do. And the accessories look amazing on this truck. So let's do the normal walk around here. So we do have power adjustable mirrors. They are not power folding. They do have blind spot in them. So the mirrors aren't loaded with tech, right? We don't have 360 cameras, which is something I can't tell you guys how many comments I get saying I wish it had less technology. You do have nice keyless entry, and it's beeping because the key's in it, but you know, push the button for lock, unlock. You don't have to get the key out or anything like that. So very nice that it has proximity key. It's sitting on these like bead lock look-alike. I don't think they're actual bead lock, just because nobody does. They could be, but nobody really does factory bead locks that are bolted in for the most part. Usually it's just a ring on there, but these are 17s wrapped in BF Goodrich Baja Champion all-terrains, and these wheels and tires look incredible. What a tough look. The other reason nobody really does that is because tire shops would be super upset if everybody started bringing in bead locks. It's a lot of work. So these are probably a wheel that you can convert to a real bead lock, but I guess from the factory it's mounted with like a traditional seated bead. Now, this is perfect, right? So LED headlights that I absolutely love. I do think the turn signals are animated. They've got some nice little markers on there, but it's not like an incredibly complex headlight. It's not auto leveling or any of the crazy stuff that costs a ton of money. So maybe if something happens, you might not be putting $1,000 headlights in it. You do have factory fog lights down here, which are very cool. And the front end of this thing looks absolutely tough. I love the giant rugged tow hooks. Look at that approach angle. It's massive. You could do some real off-roading right out of the box with this thing. No other considerations, right? Now, I say that this is a Pro X. It's the two-wheel drive. A lot of people will freak out about a two-wheel drive off-roader. I've had it and had no problems. My old Titan, I had a two-wheel drive one, and it would go anywhere, no problem at all. Kansas, Florida, there's just a lot of states where you don't need four-wheel drive. A lot of people think a truck's not a truck without it, but at the same time, this spec does make a lot of sense for a lot of people. So before you knock it, you know, at least have a little perspective that four-wheel drive is definitely not needed in every state. It's a little weird having a fully built off-roader that's two, but feel free to just buy a Pro 4X. This has the aftermarket Nismo topo map on it, which is really cool looking. That's a dealer accessory, if I remember right. The Nismo rigid lights, which are incredible, right? So we've got some 6 inches up here and some 4-inch kind of ditch lights down here, even though they are looking forward. The Nismo roof racks on there, which looks very, very cool. Love the little orange Nissan logo. We have marker lights up here on the hood, which is almost a necessity these days. It looks wonderful. And the Frontier running boards right there as well, which are tough and just perfectly match the look. And back here on the back, we've got the rack with the blow molded cases up here. You can put whatever you want in there. These come off and they have wheels on them so they can roll. And to open it, you know, you just pop all the latches. Nothing special here. So you can put a ton of extra stuff on the rack, you know, jerry cans, whatever you want. Typical overlanding build kind of accessories there. So the rack looks very nice. In the bed here, I mean, it's a small bed, but ample tie downs, right? We've got nice tie downs front and rear up there. And then of course the rack lets you tie down anything you could possibly want. Throw a box up here on top of it if you want it as well. And it also has rails going all the way forward with that Nismo roof rack up there. So literally unlimited storage on something like this. Let's check out this tailgate here. So it's a Pro 4X tailgate. This is maybe pre-production because the seats are Pro X and this is two-wheel drive. I mean, I looked under the front end and there are no CVs in the front. So you just see the Pro X logo there, but it has the Pro 4X branding on the back. So I think this was just kind of put together as a demo of an everything truck. So very cool. It even has the Pro 4X mud flaps on there, but also I assume they just sell those mud flaps as a Pro 4X accessory. This is probably a dealer added step right there. So it has the pop out step to make getting in and out of the bed very, very easy. Before we open the tailgate up, let's take a quick look back here. We have parking sensors all the way across, LED tag lights. This has 6,117 pounds of towing capacity, somewhere in there. And this one doesn't have the trailer hitch on it. Full-size spare up underneath there. It's not the all-terrain, but it's still a full-size spare that'll make sure you get home in comfort. This has the Nismo shocks on it, the Nismo lift on it. Wow, this thing is fully set up. So you do have a backup camera. I mean, it's new, federally mandated now. Soft open tailgate, check that out. The citrus stripe is very, very bright back here. LED taillights that look great, and I would say that is most of what we needed to cover back here. So there we go, kick the step back up, and we are ready to hop inside this thing and check it out. First of all, those rigid lights just looks so good. Here on the driver door, we've got a little bit of door storage here, nice little pocket. Giant pocket here for your water bottle. Makes a lot of sense. Like, this is one of the biggest door pockets I've seen, so you can put a big water bottle in there, like some of the largest ones Yeti makes, or whatever you want, obviously any bottle. Auto up and down on the front two windows. The rear windows are not auto up and down. There's power mirror controls, window locks for the rear, and the locks. And I kind of love, not just like love, guys, this is the same window switch setup that's been in the Titan since like 03 or 04. Since the first year of the Titan, it used that control. This one's obviously, it's probably a little bit more refined, but same layout, same switches, and it works very, very well. So there's our lock, unlock, and soft touch right there. It's actually cushioned right there. It feels like a synthetic leather. And nice armrest as well with the orange contrast stitching to contrast the citrus stripe. Very, very cool and supportive seats. These feel wonderful to drive in. They are power, and they're 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6-way seats at least. They might be 7s, but there's all the power seat controls. A foot operated e-brake, which I know a lot of truck people like. So no electric e-brake in here. Cargo lamp control, traction off. This is the power for the rigid lights right there. So let's go check those out. They should be on. Oh yeah, look at that. That is a lot of lighting. Here's our ADAS on and off switch right there. And then tow mode, and that's cluster illumination, trip reset. Auto headlights, no auto wipers on this, which is, you know, another thing that I love and a lot of people say they wish they didn't have. So no auto wipers, no crazy controls for anything. Like, you have physical controls for literally every single part of this. If you don't want to dig through the touchscreen for climate controls, look, they're all here. It is dual auto climate, very, very nice. So on the climate control, you've got your defrost, push for auto, and then temp, passenger temp, on and off, fan speed, and then the modes to change your vents, and AC on and off, and then recirc and vent. So every single button's there. You don't have to dig through a touchscreen. I'd almost rather use the touchscreen at this point, but again, Nissan has given you everything that you ask for in any video I've ever made where people said there was too much tech. This being the Pro X does not have the 4x4 control right here. Normally you'd have the little dial that has 2-wheel, 4 high, 4 low. It is push button start, very nice. Proximity key, like I said, and then auto start stop off is right there. Let's cover the steering wheel, but it's self-explanatory, right? I don't need to tell you what these are. They have very, very clear labels on them. Source, menu up, down, enter, and then forward and back on the menu, volume up and down, voice control, answer, hang up phone call, and then cruise control right here. It does have adaptive cruise with follow distance right there. So at least it has one of the features that I consider most important. Adaptive cruise, super nice. Orange accents on the Nissan logo, orange accents on the Frontier, orange accents on the doors, and orange accents in the gauges, which look wonderful. You do have a full color screen in the center to show you ADAS, speed, and, you know, many other things that you want to be able to see in the center. Here's your fog lights, the factory fog lights right there. But that's most of the controls. Touchscreen is everything you would expect, right? Normal audio system, infotainment, CarPlay, and Nissan's still doing CarPlay. They're not selling us out like GM did. So you have physical buttons, even for the infotainment stuff right here. That's a lot of physical buttons. And everybody's favorite part, cloth seats, high and low heated seats. Heated steering wheel too. The one thing that's a little weird, this is a 26 and they still left USB-C and USB-A. Pretty much all the other cars, especially in Nissan's line and everyone else's line, have gone to just USB-C and no USB-As, but this one still got both. But then again, the people that want this might not have switched to full USB-C, so it kind of makes sense. We got a little accessory outlet right here. Tons of storage. Look at this. Storage, cup holders with fingers to hold the cup so they don't tip over in a turn, a shifter. And speaking of the shifter, there are no paddle shifters on here. If you want to change gears, you switch down into drive and pop it over and use the up and down. So that's most of the front here. Glove box is large. Mirror is full manual, not even auto dimming. That is a full manual mirror. Definitely no digital screen in the mirror or anything like that. Oh, look at that. There is a light. I am very surprised that they lighted that mirror. So that's pretty cool. You have the SOS to call Nissan right there. Up in the upper center console. Also push, turn on lights, door on, and the sunglasses holder. That's it, guys. Look at that. Of course, the passenger one will be lighted. Not even a clip for your parking tickets. These are the slide out visors, which is cool. And I think we've covered it all. That is the front seat. You do have some storage in here and there is like an accessory 12-volt outlet. This one doesn't have installed, but that's a big console and it's got pin holders on the top. Look at that. There was a note in the center console. This is a pre-production truck. It has the Pro 4X badging, but it is actually a Pro X. So there you go. Let's take a look at the back seat here. I've kind of been living in here, right? You can see my bags are shoved in here, but we have flip up. Which way? Let's try that. There we go. Flip up seats with storage underneath them. Massive storage over here. You can see it's got all those Nismo straps hanging out down there too that match the setup on the roof rack. And in the back, we again have USB-C and USB-A, and a pocket on the passenger seat, no pocket on the driver's seat here. And we'll flip the seats back down. And we also have a center armrest with cup holders for the rear passengers. So very nice. They get their door pockets with the water bottle holder. No orange accents in the back either, but over here, you do have the stitching, but you don't have the plastic accents. And then of course, like I said, center console with cup holders and a manual sliding rear glass. Check that out. So there's that glass. Very, very nice. You can get the airflow you want through the truck and it's old school. No power back there. This might be the least amount of features I've seen in a car since the Mitsubishi Mirage, which is, again, exactly what people ask for in every video when I start talking about the technology, but it is tilt and telescope and manual lock right there. So full manual. And then let's open the hood up too and go look at that V6 power plant. A naturally aspirated V6. I'm telling you guys. It is on 1234YF, 310 horsepower, 281 foot-pounds of torque, and it looks like it's packaged really well. It looks like you can work on it, which is something, right? We're getting to the point where a lot of new cars, working on them is not gonna be fun, but this looks like there is a lot of room for all of the basic maintenance in here. Check that out, you know, old school normal AC compressor, normal power steering pump. Obviously, it's direct injected, and has all of, you know, everything it needs to meet modern emissions and be very efficient, but at the same time, in a classic V6 design that we all know and is pretty serviceable. So there's not much else to show you guys under the hood. I just wanted to be sure to mention that it is non-turbo, right? Naturally aspirated, 310 horsepower. That's V8 power. Right? That's insane. And that power runs through a 9-speed automatic. And I should also mention the other number I left out, people might want to know, 1,220 pounds of payload capacity in the bed. So with that said, let's hop in here and drive this thing. First, we need to fire it up. I know everybody wants to see the startup sequence here, so here it is. Needle sweeps, lighted needles, get a little Frontier logo as it starts up. Currently speed on the screen, but we can see our off-road controls right there, which is very cool. Where the power is being routed to, obviously on this one, it will always be in 4x2. But if you have the 4-wheel drive, it will show you when you go into 4, and it doesn't, oh, there. Yeah, it does show steer angle on the screen. So 4 degrees of steer angle right now. And then of course we have our inclinometer and, you know, degrees of roll and all that stuff on the off-road screen there. Aux gauges, we get trans temp. Wow, trans temp to me is still a high-end feature. It's also cool having the little voltmeter right there with a dial, and oil pressure and oil temp. Not in numbers, but that's something. You get a gauge. You don't get gauges like this in a lot of cars. Getting 18 miles a gallon, but you can assume we were driving this thing. ADAS right there, blind spot, forward collision warning, and lane departure. And there's a tire pressure from the TPMS. Auto start stop, and vehicle settings. The backup camera is not what we are used to in 2026. It looks like it's pretty low resolution, but it does have turning lines, which is obviously very, very nice. And you've got your trailer ball right there. The blue line's your trailer backup. And then of course, since this only has a rear camera, only a rear camera, the other camera is only being used for collision assist. It doesn't have any of the cameras over here on the side. So we'll back up real quick so you can just take a look at that. The refresh rate's great, but the resolution's just a little bit low. But hey, it works, right? All you have to have is a backup camera. So with that said, let's get out of here. There's the home screen and CarPlay, Android Auto. It shows your source right here. Also your phone, AM, FM, Bluetooth, USB 1. And then you can customize your home menu, have a clock on screen. And that's most of it right there. It does have Nissan Connect, vehicle reports, vehicle reports, shows how economically you're driving. Current eco score 63 out of 100. And is there anything else you guys need to see? I think we covered most of it. We're not going to spend a lot of time on the screen. Customized split screen, you can put something over here and something on the main screen, but we're just going to jump back to CarPlay as soon as I plug my phone in. And if you do want a screen, it does have the screen's big. This is like a 14-inch diagonal screen or something like that. It is a big screen that looks very nice. You get your CarPlay, but best of all, for all the people that are always telling me they want buttons in the comments, it's got buttons for everything. So you get the best of both worlds. Enough screen for me, you know, it's passable. I'd rather like all of this be screen, but at the same time, I think this answers a very big market segment that people wanted a solution like this in. We're out driving the Pro X now. I've been driving this thing for nearly an hour. Back roads, highway. Right now, you know, we're on a 75-mile-an-hour highway, and it drives great. First of all, this is one of my big points. A little bit of wind noise. But I want to say, like, it's very, very quiet. You can hear the wind, but it's very quiet for being a smaller truck. A lot of people don't want to be driving full-size trucks every day. This is a mid-size truck. Like I said, it checks a lot of boxes that are in the comments. I'd say it checks almost every box that I see in the comments. It's got power, plenty of power for what it is, you know, accelerates in the traffic just fine, throttle response is quick, and honestly, it's pretty stable. Like, I've kind of thrown it through a few corners. You're not going to be doing that with it really, but I figured there's nothing in here to roll around or for me to spill, so I had a little bit of fun with it. I really think it drives very well. The steering's direct. You know, you feel like the body kind of want to start to roll, but then it stays flat, which is incredible. So I'd say this truck stays very flat, even with the Nismo lift on here and all that good stuff. So you can have the look, you can have a really great drive. I mean, this is a cool truck. And again, 310 horsepower, 281 foot-pounds of torque, and a 9-speed. So even if it is hunting around for gears, you hardly ever feel it. Like there, it just downshifted. And I assume that was from 9th to 8th. And you're almost oblivious to it. And oh, it's because the truck in front of me accelerated. I'm in adaptive cruise, so of course the truck had to pick up speed. So just a tiny little acceleration and downshift, and then it upshifted again. There's another downshift. So sure, it's moving around a little bit, but also fuel economy, right? And you don't really notice the shifts. So it's not jerky. It's not like the old 8 speeds or anything like that. Like, this is an enjoyable drive. It's not 4-wheel drive, so we're not off-roading it, but for basically everything you're ever gonna wanna do, this is a blast. And I think you'd be fine off-road if you know how to drive. Like, use a little bit of momentum, don't get yourself in a situation where you're gonna be in way over your head, and this truck's got your back. Obviously, a whole lot of the off-road conversation is tires, and I think these are great tires. So that, plus a little bit of off-roading nuance, and you don't have to have 4-wheel drive all the time. Just make sure it's not wet. But anyway, that is the 2026 Nissan Frontier Pro X. I just keep wanting to say Pro 4X, but like I said, this is pre-production. It got the 4X badges on the paintwork, but it's truly a Pro X, two-wheel drive, and very fun. I'm coming from driving that Mercedes 190E for like 4 days straight. This thing's a rocket ship. Anyway, that is it for today, guys. Thank you so much for watching. Don't forget to head on over to shop WatchJRGo.com for cool shirts, not like this. And please like, share, subscribe, do whatever you want to do. And I will talk to you next time. The ride this thing has is just so cool. Rolling over these huge bumps. I mean, it's got a lot of tire, soaks up the bumps. I can't give enough credit to the suspension. It has been super fun to drive. But now, unfortunately, I have to give it back. If you go over a speed bump in this thing, you don't even feel it, which is such a cool feature. Check out this full color matched lowered Bronco. Absolutely wild. Bumpers painted, push bar. That is one of the craziest looking Broncos I have ever seen.